Good morning or good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to Frames Team. Today I'm going to talk about how Nikon has sabotaged the autofocus in the Nikon ZF by making it too good actually. So if you found that thumbnail clickbaity, congratulations. It was meant to be like that, but I have spoken the truth on the thumbnail. What's the truth? The truth is that yes, the ZF can be better in terms of how you control the autofocus. The autofocus right now is too strong, and therefore once it knows what it wants to focus on, you can't push it to focus on something else. I think that's what I meant, and I'll tell you what I mean. So I'm being right now captured on the Nikon Z8, and Z8 has a very unique, neat feature. Let me show you what that feature is. Now I must say something very, very important. If you're new to the channel, do subscribe. And if you're coming back to the channel and if you have seen some of my videos before, maybe it's time that what are you waiting for? You just might as well go and click the subscribe button and also click on the bell icon. I'll tell you why I'm saying this, because you may find that I make content that's interesting and useful for you. So content like how does the ZF compare with the Nikon XT5, an in-depth comparison. How does the Nikon ZF compare with the Canon R6 Mark II? I'll put the links here or somewhere here or down below. Today, this session, this conversation is actually drawing a parallel between the Nikon ZF and the Nikon Z8. So if you like content like this, please subscribe and let me know what kind of content you're interested in the comment section. Now let me get into the conversation that today is very important for me. See what I can do on my Z8. The A1 button is mapped to 3D autofocus with human eye detection on. So whenever I press it, both functions kick in, right? Now let's say I actually want to focus on her hand and not on her eye. Okay, can you see the red box on top? Yeah, but you see it's not focusing on her hand. But I can easily override this. How? I have set the front function button, this one here. Now I've set the front function button here as an override tool for my eye or any other subject detection autofocus. Now when I press the front function button with my front finger, you see it recalling a particular setting. You see that particular icon there? It's recalling a particular setting, and the setting is to ignore human eye detect autofocus. Now when I press on the F1 button, there is only 3D focusing, but there is no human eye detect, and you can see instantly it is focusing on her hand. So let me take a picture of her hand. Okay, it is detecting the eye but focusing on her fingers. Now if I remove that override function, it'll go back to detecting her eye, and I can just simply take a picture. It is so easy and convenient. So what am I using on the Z8 to control focus like that? I have mapped my F1 button to recall shooting function hold. So if I hold it, okay, you see there are some options here. Subject detect options, and that is switched off. I can set the button to people, that whenever I click that button particularly, it'll actually go back to human eye autofocus. Okay, now you see human eye autofocus only. Okay, but the way I have done it is I wanted to control when I don't want any subject detection, so I have set it to subject detection off. And that quick access to control when I want the subject detection to work and not work is the difference between these two cameras. And this is primarily and wholly a software feature. Let's try and do the same thing on the Nikon ZF. Let me go there. Okay, now controls. Let's see how I've set it up. Okay, this is how most people are suggesting on the internet to set it up. So you go inside, you customize it to AF area mode plus AF1 button, AF1, and you set it to 3D tracking. Fantastic. So I come out and it does very well to track the face beautifully, right? It does a great job of tracking the face, right? Right. Now the only problem is, can you see there's a tiny red mark at the center? That's what Monochrome Memoir and this other person, I think straight out of camera, they've suggested that if you set it like that, you're going to get, this can actually override, but as you can see, it's not actually overriding, right? The autofocus is so strong it is not focusing on her hand, it is going straight to her eye. Now, how have I set it up? Go to Control, Custom Shootings menu, AF1 button. I've set it to AF area mode plus AF1. And if you go inside, I have set it to 3D. So you can see that taking effect. 3D, it's showing 3D autofocus along with a subjective autofocus option. So it's activating both. It's activating both 3D and subjective autofocus. And in this situation, it is very faithfully detecting her eye and focusing on her eye. Great job. But at this point, I actually wanted to focus on her hand and not on her eye. Reliably, right? Reliably, I wanted to, because you see, some of the other channels like Monochrome Memoir and I think it's the other channel is called Straight Out of Camera. They're suggesting that in this setting, I should be able to focus on her hand because that's in the middle of the center of the frame, and I have put a cross there, right? How to put the cross? You just go inside the menu and go to right. So we go to D17, go click on, go right again, and you have these options here, right? You can choose these options here. So the option to show the cross at the center of the image is this one. Okay, you remove that, that's gone. It just shows you where the center is, that's all. But it's not working, guys, right? Maybe at times it's grabbing on her hand and then it's going back to her eyes again. Okay, so what? Tried a few things. Maybe what you can do is try to limit the area within which the camera is detecting for a subject. So let me try that. Okay, you see it is at the center, but the focus is still on the eye, not on her hand. I have to really come down like this in order for me to get the camera to focus on her hand, and then even in that situation it can go back to her eye. Just if you want to take a moment and compose the shot, maybe, and you give the model, the bride, a little bit of time to, maybe she's holding a ring. Show me the fork. Maybe it's, imagine this is the ring, okay, and maybe you want to focus on this, but it's going back to her eye, and that's my problem. Within a second it's going back to her eye. So I tried something else. Maybe if I just customize this large box to a tiny box like this. Okay, why don't I do this? Does that work then? No, it doesn't. It still goes back to her eye. Hold it for a second, it goes back to her eye. See, that's the problem. Okay, it's not taking the limitation of the box. The eye autofocus is so strong that it's going back to detecting the eye and focusing on that, on the eye. Okay, what if I do something else? What if I just put the 3D box there? Is it working then in that case? No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And that's what I mean, that the eye autofocus is so strong, it's sabotaging your ability to control how the autofocus should work. Now, so it's very difficult, okay? So I've tried many things. The best option for me is to actually widen this box a little bit more. Just keep it this size, right? That's one. First of all, you try to keep the box a bit wider. Try to take the shot quickly. Don't wait, because if you wait, it's going to go back and find the eye and focus on the eye. So you compose a shot, press on the AF1 button, and immediately take the shot. You see, now it's focused on her hand. Yeah. Her eyes are out of focus. The hand is in focus because I didn't give it time. The other way to do it is, the one more thing is to I have mapped my OK button as a zoom button. I have mapped my OK button as a zoom button here, okay? See, the other thing that you can do is quickly, I have mapped my OK button as a zoom button, okay? So other thing I can do is quickly just click on the OK button, zoom into the area, and focus there. Now if I want to focus on a shoulder, it focuses on a shoulder. It will take a bit of time maybe, but it will focus. You see? And now if you quickly, but the problem with this is that you cannot focus and recompose. Of course the hand is in focus and it's not the eye that's in focus. you will see that the eye is actually out of focus. See, the eye is actually out of focus. Okay, the hand is in focus because I zoomed in and focused there, but it's not convenient. You can't focus and recompose. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I honestly think that this is a software issue, it's a firmware issue. I think Nikon should allow us to, map one of the buttons. Yes, this camera doesn't have a lot of customizable buttons, but I think this is one essential ability to be able to override subject detection when I need it to, because a lot of people are actually using it as an event camera and wedding photography and portrait photography camera. Trust me on this, a lot of buyers, a lot of consumers of this camera are actually, or pros are actually using it for professional wedding shooting and portrait shooting and all that. So which is why I think it is very important for Nikon to take notice of this. If Nikon is watching this, if anyone from Nikon is watching this, and if you are watching this, definitely in your interaction with Nikon, do talk about the fact that the hacks that you're trying to find out in order to control where the camera focuses on is not very effective, because the subject detection system in this camera is very, very strong. So either Nikon pushes a firmware where the system is upgraded or changed to ensure that nothing beyond those boxes is actually focused on, as in if there's an eye detection on animal or human, if there is a box that I have given the camera to focus within, the focusing system should work only within that. So now I understand that these boxes were actually conceptualized by Nikon to sort of guide the camera's view and look for an object within that box. It is not, I think now it tells me that it was not meant to restrict vision for the camera. But I think now the box's role has changed. Now the autofocus is so strong, it doesn't need the guidance of the box. The box needs to tell the camera that this is where your limits are. Do not look beyond the boundaries to look for an object or a subject. So I think that is one way of changing it. The other way is to actually add the recall option to the menu and to allow that recall option to be mapped to one of the function buttons. Hi there, I'm back on the balcony. So you see, I mean, it's an interesting situation on the Nikon ZF. I don't know if Nikon is intentionally ensuring that the Nikon does not have the amount of customizability that you get on the Z8 and the Z9, or is it just that it's that they have just somehow overlooked it? I don't know if companies can miss important features like this. Especially on a camera that is so thoughtfully made as the Nikon Z8, so thoughtfully designed, so thoughtfully made. A case in point, if you realize this black and silver look, black and white look on the camera extends into the beautiful black and white profile pictures you'll get into the camera. Also, if you look at how the hot shoe looks like, this hot shoe actually has an aluminum build. It complements beautifully with the rest of the look of the camera, okay? And this button here, this button there, and I'm actually using a silver shutter button to go with the look, okay? So when a company is so detail oriented about making a product, I don't think this little omission of a capability is accidental. I think it is probably quite deliberate, and I would really ask Nikon to reverse that decision and give us the capability to override subject detect when you need to, because this is a camera for creative people, and I think a basic creative control like that should be allowed to the Nikon ZF photographers. I'm going to see you soon with another video, and if you have liked this, please subscribe. I'm going to see you soon with another one, and I'm going to engage with you, and we'll have a conversation in the comment section. See you.